upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. So that's what's going to happen, man, when you don't have wisdom and knowledge as the stability of your times in these last days, man, because calamity is coming to America, man. Race riots is coming to America, man.
Got a priest.
Right? Bring it up. What's going on, brother? You believe in God? We can read you a Bible verse real quick? Come up here real quick. You waiting for your mom or something? We've seen that sister before.
Yeah.
Bring it up.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, reading from verse 33. The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesses the habitation of the just.
That's right, man. So that curse is going to be laid upon you when you're not obeying Yahweh in these last days. What's going on, sister? What's going on, young king? What's going on?
About the book of Enoch. Have y'all read that yet?
We've heard of it before, yeah.
Yeah. It's like a missing book because like they got a map of the United States, and I just learned like a lot of the cities and stuff that they have in Europe, it was over here first.
Okay.
Like Jerusalem was over here first.
Okay.
Who told you that, sister?
She learned the book of Enoch.
Book of Enoch.
What we will say, hold on real quick, brother. What you got to be careful of, sister, is something called pseudepigraphal books. And even though there were small fragments of the book of Enoch found in the Qumran caves, is that what you talk, like the Qumran caves, right? Because that's where the Essenes were keeping like a lot of their writings. This is where we get a lot of our Old Testament from, is from the Qumran caves. But the thing about the book of Enoch, they didn't have a full book. They had just parts and parsing books. They didn't have like a full codified book. So that book you see today, they call it in the secular world pseudepigraphal, basically meaning like a lot of it is made up. Yeah.
That's how I feel about the Bible.
Yeah. Well, the Bible, you can't really say that because we have the source documents. We have codified source documents that go back to it. Like this, like the Bible, the King James I'm holding right now goes back to the Masoretic text, the Greek Septuagint, the Texas Britannicus, and the Dead Sea Scrolls. So we actually have the source documents that back up the book. So we can have it in English.
Salakia. So I have a copy of the book of Enoch, and it reads in the beginning of it, in the prologue, it tells you right away that it isn't a complete copy of it. So and if you try to read through it, it'll say, okay, we assume that this was said, it said this or that here, but we don't have that information. So it's not a complete book. And another thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that the Canaanites, the Canaanite nations, they were the first ones that actually built the original Jerusalem. And the Canaanites are from the land of Canaan, which is in what people call the Middle East, or the Fertile Crescent. So that being said, it's just not possible for Jerusalem to have been here first, when
because the curses of the Bible, because then that would disprove us as being the actual people of God, because the curses say that we'll be scattered from our homeland. So if we're scattered from our homeland, but our homeland is here, then that's an oxymoronic statement. We can't make that statement anymore. So our homeland would have had to been in what they would call the Fertile Crescent, because we're an Afro-Asiatic people. That's where Jerusalem is. Jerusalem is in between the plateau of Asia Major and Africa. This is why they're called an Afro-Asiatic people.
Okay, so y'all got the white Jesus behind there. Why y'all got that?
Well, this is a conversation starter because we know Christ wasn't white. Christ was dark-skinned God.
That's right.
This is to get people to they're like, why are you guys out here teaching with Christ? And then we show that Christ is a dark-skinned man, because this is what we know is in the minds of our people. Because when they brought this white Jesus, this is what they also brought: is backwhippings, slavery, putting brothers in slavery.
The Bible, right? I've heard that it was given to us by our oppressors.
Right.
To control us.
Right.
To strip away our real
natural understanding of history.
Right.
There's a book called just one more clip on the secular tip. There's a book called The Africans Who Wrote the Bible, right?
Yeah.
And what they're going into is actually there was a massive amount of black people from Hippo and Carthage, which is an African country, they were actually attesting all of their Hebraic tenets back to the biblical text, like the Ashanti, the Akan, the Dahomey Empire, which started the Haiti, which is what Haiti is made up of now, is of the Dahomey and of the Mandingo, right? So there were actually African tribes who were necessarily the writers of the Bible, being the people of the Bible, because their tenets came from the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Such as things like circumcision. Not everybody was circumcising themselves, but you see black people circumcising themselves as a part of our culture. On top of not only circumcision, the eating of like non-clean foods. We learned eating non-clean foods from goddamn white guys. You know what I'm saying? When we were thrown into them slave houses and were fed pig scrap. You know what I'm saying? So when people say it actually came from our oppressor, you have to think way back in times before we were on the Western Shores, way before when we were in Northern Africa. Those places we were keeping loosely some of the Hebraic tenets that are found in the Torah. So when they say like this came from the white man, it was something called the Slaves Bible. If you look this up on the internet, look up the Slaves Bible. They have these Bibles literally in New England when they were shipping them on the ships to actually go and get these people, and they took out 80% of the New Testament, and they also took out like 90% of the Old Testament. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, like the Southampton insurrection, have you heard of that? With what's that brother's name that was killing the slave owners? Nat Turner. Yeah, the Southampton. Look up the Southampton insurrection. In that movie, when you watch that movie, he read in the Bible, whosoever is man steals should be killed. That's what he read in the Bible, and he noticed that his people were being stole from the western shores of Africa, and the Bible says to kill man stealers. That's how he actually started his rebellion to the damn white man from reading the damn Bible.
Right, when you say our people, because black people, like, we're all over.
Right.
Like, we're all over.
Right.
And
But guess what? It's just the all skin folk ain't kin folk.
That's right.
Because
right,
as
so
he
when
was
you
telling
when you say that we all found out that we were being stolen, when you say we're, you know, it's kind of like, it's like you're contradicting what you're saying, because you're saying that black people are different, we all different, but then you're saying we.
Well, the black people I'm talking about is, you want to flip the sign over? I'm sorry. The black people I'm talking about are actually, the ones I'm naming in particular are victims of the transatlantic slave trade. And then like some people loosely think just because a person has darker skin, we can go up the block, go to one of them damn gas stations, and the damn Jeeps, and they're gonna be darker than us, you know what I'm saying? But we know that they're not our people. You know what I'm saying? We know that we come from literally a different breed. We have a different spirit about us. You know what I'm saying? So when I speak of we, I'm speaking of people that were victims of the transatlantic slave trades and those different slave trades that that are victims of that. Like our ancestors were victims of that.
I'm just trying to understand the whole culture thing, like where we come from and stuff, because the white Jesus, a lot of people believe that he's white, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, even though the Bible says that he's black.
Can I get a precept?
Yeah, bring it up.
Because Solomon's going to prophesy on that. It's the book of the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, reading from verse 12. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication. In the invention of them, the corruption of life. So that's what that's intended to do. Let's keep going. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. So by the vainglory of those so-called white men that brought that entered into the world. Let's keep going. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child, soon taken away, now honor him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices.
Wow.
And that's exactly what that is, man. That was Caesar Borgia. That's who that is right there. The image of Caesar Borgia, and it's prophesied by King Solomon, who is the author of the Wisdom of Solomon.
Yes, because yeah, like, and that's an immense cut.
That's a cut.
That's a cut. So because our people, right? 80% of our people are Christian. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and
I feel like
they
that
all
was pushed on us, especially Christianity.
Yeah.
That wasn't some.
Yeah. What I like to say is Christianity is not in the Bible, but Christians are in the Bible.
1 second.
I would like to say that.
Salaki.
Because the tenets of Christianity is literally telling you, don't keep the laws, everybody is equal, Christ is white, his people are white. Yeah, that's
That goes right with this. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom, grown strong, was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. And that's exactly what we see.
And that's what goes on in the Christian church. They worship Jesus. When in the Bible, when you read the Bible for yourself, Christ says to not worship no one but the Father. So you only supposed to worship the Father.
So we have that graven image right there, you know, on that church. The graven image you saw right here.
Right.
So,
Jesus pieces.
And by the commandments of kings, remember they came over here and they said you got to get down with this image of God,
or get killed,
or get
killed,
or they
kill.
kill.
One more question.
Right.
How do y'all feel about black people ruling Europe for like centuries?
That's true. That's what Russia had came out with. They were
so
they were called
the slavery thing come from? Like where did
we were defeated around the 15th century.
Yeah, 15th century. Because that was the jump start of the Renaissance period. You ever heard of the Renaissance period in Europe? So the Renaissance is actually when the white man, and it's prophesied in the Bible that the white man would actually come back into his power. Because the Dark Ages, when you look up the Dark Ages, this is when a bunch of black people were ruling in Europe at the time. This is what Putin literally put out to the world. This is what had a whole bunch of Christians mad, because they were actually learning that the early churches were dark-skinned people, melanated people. You know what I'm saying? So, and then also just bearing with all of that, the slavery actually comes from the fact that, yeah, we lost the Renaissance, we were pushed out of our lands, you know, we lost our opulence. And God said, whenever you break my laws, I'm not going to be with you to fight with you ever. And we were constantly breaking the laws of God as well. So we also have to bear that in our minds as well. Because once we start, as a people, start keeping the law, statutes, and commandments and having faith in his son, that's when the Most High will start fighting with us. That's when our power will be enhanced to damn near overtake these nations. And that's what we're telling our people now. Because if you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of God, to be honest, I'm gonna just be honest, you're gonna die here in America, because this is not our homeland. You know, there's a bunch of things coming to America: martial law, unjust arrests are coming, race wars are coming. You know, a lot of our people like killing each other, but guess what? When that time comes, the white man is gonna rain down on our ass, man, with goddamn AKs. They literally have combines of like they call them like sex, right? And these people are literally waiting for like the apocalypse. They're waiting to like crash down on the environments, because they know that the mundane person is not ready, especially the black man.
That's what I'm trying to tell my nephew. You know, we gotta stick together. We gotta help each other.
We do.
Stop being lazy.
Yup, and we have to stop hating each other, because hating each other, that's what divided our kingdom, man. That's what divided our kingdom, is when we started hating each other.
And that's a curse upon us.
Right.
You know, the Moors came.
Yup.
Honestly, I just feel like a lot of stuff is like that I'm being told about the Bible. It's just kind of like
it's an unsavory taste. It's an unsavory taste, because we're raised in. I'm gonna just bear with you, because like we were raised in Christian families. We were raised in Baptist families. We may have been raised in families that were instantiated off of that spiritual practice, but yet we still saw our damn dad cheating on our mama. We probably saw sexual exploitation in our homes. You know what I'm saying? So that will bring a dirty taste into the mouth of our people with the book. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I always say that Christianity is not in the Bible, but being a Christian actually is in the Bible, to actually follow Christ. But the tenets of Christianity is telling you, break the damn laws, you can do whatever you want, as long as you believe a goddamn white guy existed 2,000 years ago, you'll go to heaven. Or that you have to die to go to heaven, right? When heaven and hell are just statements of conditions in the Bible. They're not places you go when you damn die. So that's what was pushed onto us. That was like Eurocentricity that was pushed onto us, not the actual Bible. So that's what we got. That's what we have to differentiate as a people.
Part of them pushing that image, we talked about wisdom of Solomon.
Right.
I just hate how how it's like a war.
Yeah, it's a spiritual war.
They believe that
that's Christ. Yeah.
Like you said, they're gonna rain down on us one day, and it's just like they don't care. They don't care about nothing, basically. And I've just been reading a lot of stuff outside of. That's what I'm saying. I'm reading stuff outside of the Bible, and it's kind of making me feel like, is this what's distracting my people from what we really supposed to be learning? Because they took it away from us anyway. So why believe the white man?
Right.
You know.
And that's the thing. Yeah, and up here we don't reverence no goddamn white man ever. You know what I'm saying? Even anything that he comes and teaches, white woman, man, and child. I'm gonna just be real. We don't believe white people. We don't worship white people up here. But the things that were pushed into our community, as far as the Christianity, was pushed through Eurocentricity. This is why they paint Christ white. This is why they say the damn Jews in the land are goddamn white men. You know, this is why they say these things, because of white Eurocentricity. When you
People
actually
need to know
go,
our
when you
real
actually
history.
bring,
I feel like if we knew our real history,
Yeah.
the stuff that was taken away from us, that's being taken away
Sister,
from us
this is
now,
it.
they're still doing it to this
Yeah.
day.
But a lot of our history is found inside of the Bible, though. That's the thing. Because this is what they're telling you, right?
Yeah.
The Bible, before it went inside the Catholic Church, it was written by Africans and Afro-Asiatic people that were dark-skinned people.
Right, and I believe that.
Yeah. So when they say like the Catholic Church is what gave us the Bible, yeah, they may have canonized it, but guess where they got those source documents? They got those from melanated people, because those people were being castrated and being pushed out of their own lands.
Right.
Ultimately, because we turned our back on God. When we turn our back on God, that's when God allows the curses to overtake our lives. That's what He promised us. That's what that's the promise our people made to the Most High God who created the universe.
I got a little something.
Okay. Thank y'all
Slap
for
it.
explaining. It's like so
I got one verse for you. I got one verse for you too. Just the book of St. Matthew, chapter 15, verse 14. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. So a lot of times when you see white people may believe the Jews in the land are the Jews, or they may be believing a white Christ. Let they ass be blind, man. Sometimes you don't need to try to, turn a person's mind into thinking the right way, because they're gonna ultimately fall down into that ditch where Christ. Yeah, Mashiach Yahweh said. What you up to?
Book of Proverbs, chapter 5, from verse 15. Drink waters out of thine own cistern,
Right.
and running waters out of thine own well.
Right.
Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of water in the streets.
That's right.
So what we're looking for is to drink from our own cistern, which is our own heritage, which is this book, man.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
sir.
say that was the first book.
Because I'm gonna be real.
Ever. First book ever,
I'm gonna be
right?
real with you. You can't show me no more. You can't show me the most black history in no other literary text than the Bible. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna look into it.
Because think about it. Show me a book where it says your people are going to be sent on slave ships. Show me a book where it says the prominent people are called niggers. You know what I'm saying? And that was an actual lexicological word, right? Show me in the Bible where we were keeping circumcision, or in any literary text. We would have to show me those things. But
So
I
why
see
do y'all-
black people doing these things.
Why do y'all think they took the book of Enoch out? 'Cause now I'm starting to realize they took it out because it's not
Well-
as as the rest of the Bible.
Well, what we saying is that they didn't have a complete book. That's what we're telling you. Because when you look at it, he told you in the prologue, when you read the prologue of the book of Enoch, if you have one at home, it literally says that it's a pseudepigraphal text. Meaning it's pseudo. It's literally